are back. It is time to meet the one and only DJ Kilma. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
We are awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
The class in this chat just went up like 4 levels.
Well, it's nice to know that John uses a good mic, I use a good mic, she uses a good mic, and then there's Dan.
Dan down there who's like, kids, can I use your Mr. Microphone?
Yes, kids, can I borrow those things that came with your newfangled phone?
I'm just so good I don't need a microphone.
Oh, I see. Ooh.
There you go.
So, Kilma, this is our first chance to get to chat with you.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your background for those who are getting to meet you for the first time tonight.
Yeah, for sure. The sound is all right?
Yeah,
You're
good.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So, in short, I am a DJ that helps other DJs. My background was actually in drum and bass music, go figure, for quite a few years. And musically, I was changing my tune. So, yeah, I decided, since I was playing house and techno music and people were getting a little bit confused about the brand, I started to brand with a bang and created this whole concept for Kilma. And from that, don'tkillmavibe.com, where I talk about vibe killing situations that a lot of DJs deal with. And some solutions to those issues. So indirectly, I used my own experiences and the experience of other artists to help those DJs, which turned into workshops. And now I help artists one-on-one to creatively market themselves and all that fun branding.
Sweet.
Very cool.
Boy, do I have stories about people killing dance floors.
Yep.
You used to have this dude. That's one of the things you're going to learn about Kilma. I drop into these stories about history of different things. We used to have this dude that come into the club every single week. I swear to you, he looked he was Bill Gates' doppelganger. Okay, I mean, to the point and T. He would rock right out in the middle of the floor before anybody was dancing and just do this like he was one of those flailing things. And I'm going, I'm never going to get a dance floor started till he needs a drink. You know.
You think like people would totally vibe off that. They're like, this guy's hilarious. No.
They're going to be like, I don't want to stand next to him. You might think he's with us.
I just think of the Saturday Night Live guys.
He was very, imagine Bill Gates acting like that. That was this time.
How professional.
Awesome.
John, lead the questions because I am just.
Well, I'm watching the chat room here, and they're giving us crap because we went from trash talking school dances to now all of a sudden we became professional now that Kilma's on with us.
I'll trash talk about Dan any day.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Now, I'm going to look at some of that. I've been stalking you online as much as I could without being noticed. And looking at some of your articles recently. And one of them was 5 ways a DJ can have an excuse-free 2016. And I was going to read it, but I didn't have any excuses not to. But I like the fact that you make them little quick segments. And for a DJ's life, for the most part, especially with people who work day jobs, I don't work a day job. John works like 6 or 7 of them. Dan works 1. But getting those little quick bits of nuggets of information are important. And that's the way I like that you put a lot of that down there. Where do you kind of get the ideas for these real quick kind of lists of information, like that one, for an example, 5 ways you can have an excuse-free 2016?
Well, from experience, one, and especially my clients, I have a lot of DJs from the newbies to people that are quite experienced, and I get a lot of really jaded artists. So the newbies are a little bit more open to ideas, but some of the veterans are like, oh, that's not going to work. This hasn't worked before, and we kind of have to establish like, look, you got to put these excuses to the side because this is what's holding you back. Like all these other things that you think are holding you back, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You say, therefore it is, as opposed to trying something new that we're offering and trying a different approach and creating a new mindset around that concept. So yeah, that particular article, I hear excuses all the time. You see it showing up in your Facebook feed. So I decided, what do? Do I rant back and forth with these people forever? Or do I maybe make a thought-provoking comment with a link to the article? Create content through what we're already seeing online, and just help those artists be the change we want to see in the industry. So I find writing those articles help create that conversation, and they get the DJs that are on the same page to start sharing it. And hey, you know what? I had these same excuses, and since I've changed, this is the direction my career has gone. So it's opened up a lot of thought-provoking dialogue and content.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can you ask some questions? You got it, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had one actually. You talked about branding and helping DJs in their branding. What kind of common mistakes do you see or have you seen that DJs make when it comes to branding themselves and their talent?
Common mistakes that I see are people trying to fit in as opposed to set themselves apart. So whether it's playing all the same music, thinking, oh, if I'm going to put content online, I'm just going to put it on SoundCloud. I'm going to share it on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr. And what a lot of people don't understand is that audiences on different social networks have different languages. So the way you share content in one is not going to be the way you want to share it on another, because it sometimes is a different demographic. The Twitter lingo is completely different from your Instagram, right? So I would say biting people's style is another big one. And
say biting people's style.
Biting people's style.
You're gonna have to. You're really gonna have to explain that to these old DJs.
Yeah, please, because I've still got my.
To someone who's older than all of us.
Like when you said drum and bass, everybody in the room went, "What? Are you talking about marching band?"
No. Okay. So.
No, we're good with drum and bass, but
I'm busting on them. No, continue on, please. Do not let me interrupt too often.
Well, let's say, I am in the electronic dance music world. So every genre has a bunch of subgenres, and you can really explore and find your own sound. And sometimes what you find are DJs are pretty much taking the entire track list that they find from a DJ set and playing that same one in a different order at a similar style gig. They're not really setting themselves apart. They're biting somebody else's style, whether it's musically or maybe it's in their branding. A lot of DJs in my industry are also promoters. So sometimes what they do is they decide, oh, this club's doing really well throwing house nights. I'm going to also throw a house night on the same weekend as another house night. And, suddenly they're not standing apart from the other promoter, and they're killing their demographic because they're aiming for the same crowd with the same style of music, with the same style concept. So I'm really trying to get DJs to step out of their comfort zone, get creative, and really plan for a successful career.
Go ahead, Dan.
What would you say from a standpoint of now the clients that you've helped and stuff like that? Do you find that you're gearing more towards helping those that are within the electronic dance field, or do you find because I'm a mobile guy? Right, so I'm not the club guy. So, what directions as far as branding that are we talking about? Maybe helpfully.
So I don't actually just help electronic music DJs. I also help some mobile DJs. My mom is a DJ. She DJs weddings and wedding socials. So with her branding, what we decided to do is, how are we going to reach out to your clientele? We want to give couples resources and information because weddings are super stressful, and we wanted to give them information on how to save money, but also where to budget, like your DJ and your catering and your photographer, and why those things are important. So this creative way of marketing herself sets her apart from her competition. And so And in doing things like that, we ended up getting like our local CTV Live network heard about the article that went viral because all of these couples are like, wow, this is actually super useful content. They share it, which brings more traffic to our website, which brings more notice to our brand. And then we got this feature on live TV because it was coming up before the Wonderful Wedding Show. And it's, I'm trying to remember your question. It's not just electronic music artists. Sometimes bands will approach me as well. So it's all dependent on the individual brand's goals. And that's where we really need to set a plan. Because I think that's another issue that a lot of DJs make. They don't plan. They get super excited. They jump into it. They get the gear, but they have no idea what they're doing.
So
I want to go back. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, one more thing at the branding idea. So you've worked with both your mother with her mobile system, and you've of course worked with guys who are producers and doing their own thing in the EDM world. Which one? I mean, obviously they both have their challenges. Is one more difficult than the other when it comes to branding their style?
I thought it was going to be more difficult with the mobile industry, but it actually ended up helping me in the electronic music industry because I find people in the mobile world they're really smart about running their businesses. Even the guys in our local scene of Manitoba DJs, they work together to ensure that artists are charging enough money. They're setting the standards so that people are getting their worth, and also that the couples within that industry are getting the quality of service that they need. So in working with people like my mother in that realm, I learned so much more, which helped me even more in the electronic dance music scene. So I wouldn't say so much like more difficult, but each situation is very eye-opening. There's a lot of you never stop learning in this industry. So I think it makes it fun, keeps things creative.
Yep. Cool. MJ,
I just want to dump in there. Jimmy Spin talked about the word biting again because I really have to dump in something to learn. Maybe I'll be dropping in all these little things in there, and I'm gonna push the limits here for the knowledge of the bass here. For the B-boys back in the day, there was something you did when someone bit your style. It was a thing you did with your arms. If you know what it is, I want to see the chat room raise your hands. So it's an old B-boy thing. It's coming straight from the break dancers. But while they do that, my question is, speaking of old versus new, are you having people accept that, especially with today, the way image is important, that you as the DJ, you as the MC, you as the band are your image. You are your brand. Because where a lot of people think, image doesn't matter so much. And I know the mobile guys try to argue with me about that. And it's not about the image and this and that. And I want to pimp slap their moms. But it is simply the fact. Do you find that they understand or don't understand that you, the artist, are your brand?
I talk about this a lot in articles too, about how we attract the wrong kind of followers. So, you get these DJs that, they've grown up in the realms of social media, and they don't realize that the content that they're putting out, whether they're sharing an article that somebody might see offensive, or in the moment when they're super ticked off, they made a really dumb or unprofessional comment. A lot of people think, oh, well, this is my personal life. Everything you put out there is a press release. So, you can turn that around, but there's people in our industry that have ruined their careers making offensive comments. And there are people that are doing really well in their careers by bullying other people. And it's awful because, think about the demographic you're attracting, right? My articles are going to tick some people off because I talk about not getting screwed over. I talk about asking the right questions. I talk about transparency in business relationships. So there's definitely going to be promoters that are like, oh, I don't like this girl. Well, it's because I'm going to see through that. They're likely not going to try to book me, and that's okay. But when you make bullying comments, the people that you attract from that, it's not good. So yeah, everything you put online is a part of your image, whether you like to believe it or not. And some people can disassociate their image by wearing a mask when they go DJ, or keeping their private life to like 4 friends on Facebook, I guess.
I kind of meant it more as in you, the human being, that they don't think that they are their brand. You know, like Diddy and I know I'm going old school there. Diddy and Sean John. You know, that's a brand to a person. Mm-hmm. You know, and a lot of people don't see that. They go, "Oh, my wedding business is called this. It's not me." When ultimately, I believe it comes down to you.
Well, you're the business owner, right? So when you ask that question, are you kind of trying to give an example of the importance of being professional in all aspects of life?
I'm looking at it as I hear the things you do where certain people believe that wearing the right clothes, looking right, staying healthy is important. And other people will go, it doesn't matter how old I am, doesn't matter how I dress. I literally had a friend of mine is a house DJ, and he got mad because his opening act was a girl and she dressed up to come and do the opening house act, and he didn't believe she should because, that's not what it's about. So I'm talking about the person themselves and the branding. I felt she wanted to put her brand out there as a very well-dressed woman while he walks in a t-shirt and hasn't shaven for a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, to me, that just sounds like insecurity. Like somebody is going above and beyond in their business and you're trying to bring them back down to your level. Mm-hmm. That's not even so much an argument about brand. That sounds more about a person that's doesn't want to try any harder, you know? But just that particular situation.
Nope, it's all good. That's all good.
That one friend of his.
No, trust me.
No longer his friend.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, in the chat room, we're putting names to faces.
Yeah, he's going to probably hit me up really soon. I can see it.
Kilma,
he doesn't like Kilma anymore.
Kilma, you mentioned that you've worked with older and younger. I want to focus now on the younger guys. When you're getting the younger DJs who are in their maybe late teens, early 20s, how are they different than the older? What kind of things are you seeing? What's driving them?
Well, they are very easily influenced, which concerns me. So I try to.
Give me more on that. What do you mean by they're easily influenced?
So easily influenced, right? So they look up to somebody in the industry, and that person might not have really good business-minded goals. Gotcha. And but because they look up to them, they believe anything and everything that they say, and that can be that's really hard. That sucks because I mean, even when I was growing up in the industry, I had big dreams and goals, and the people I looked up to were like, Smitty, we've been in it for like 10 years. If we haven't been anywhere with our careers, you're not going to. Thankfully, I was like, yeah, right. Whatever. But not all of these people feel that way. And, as time went on in my career, I ended up creating rosters and helping other artists because I saw the importance in having like a mentor, somebody that's positive. And I didn't want to influence them like this is the only way, but here are some resources. Do your own research. I believe in you. Do you believe in you? So what I find with this, they're driven, they're excited, they have a lot of energy. They just need a bit of guidance, and they need people in their life that I feel are they're not excuse makers, right? They're positive minded, they're driven, somebody that can lead by example. So yeah, I think they're very open to new thoughts and ideas. I'm excited for them.
Cool.
I like this out because I do have a lot of young DJs will come to me and ask questions, and they'll be like, "You're like the only one that will like answer us honestly without making fun of them." And
That's
I'm
so
like,
weird.
I know, I just don't get it. I mean, I'm like, because I think it back to what we said a few minutes ago about insecurity. Yeah. I feel if you're a better DJ than me, then you're a better DJ than me. Then I need to do work. So if the young kid is a better DJ than me, it doesn't matter how many years I've been DJing. If he can rock the set, he should have the job. And a lot of those guys don't think that way, so they'll keep all their little secrets to themselves and not tell anybody anything.
And it's okay to keep some stuff to yourself, but if telling somebody if telling people the information that I give on my website was going to somehow take my career away, it would, I mean... I know how hard I worked to get to where I am today, and I know I will continue to work that hard for as long as I do this career. So I don't know, like putting out an article with some of my secrets, like why would I think someone was going to take that and suddenly be famous the next day? That's
well, I think, and I can speak for just from kind of trying to give some insight into this with these guys, is that a lot of times I think those that are so want to keep the secrets so close to their chest, and not necessarily maybe what's in your articles and things like that, but just in general speak, they don't know how to separate themselves from those little nuances that they do. So they don't want to share the secret of how this worked for them, because if I tell so-and-so how to do that and then they go and do that, now what do I have in my back pocket that's going to separate me? Like, they don't know, like kind of what MJ was saying about how they're the brand. It's them personally, not the little things that they do, not the little tricks that's in their back pocket, but it's them and how they handle it. And so because they view it as what they do instead of who they are, they don't want to share. I maybe I'm completely off base on that, but it's my 2 cents on it.
I think it's really important to keep some of the cards to yourself. That's how when I run my business, I give a lot of information online, but if that works for them, imagine what the one-on-ones create for them. So that's why I give just enough information that they see this works, that they come and they pay for my services. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's important for artists to hold some of those cards close to them if that is an important part of their brand. I just think it like in the situation that he was saying before about his friend that got insecure. I feel like that's slightly different, if that makes sense. I definitely hear where you're coming from.
Which one of us?
Oh,
Dan.
Dan, I hear where
Hi.
Coming from.
The names
okay.
are in the corner.
I think I pointed at it.
I do it all the time.
That one right there.
Like I look up and go, "Hey, what do you think?" What do you
See, on my screen, you're right there, but yeah,
We're all over.
Yeah.
it's really fun when you get like 9 of us, and then you have the whole Brady Bunch picture.
Yeah, John overloads us from time to time.
It happens once in a while.
How, taking again back to your articles that I stalked all week, one of the ones that caught your attention to me was the 9 ways to give your DJ career a proper workout. And I kind of exampled on that when I had talked before about the importance of constantly, for me, and it's not exactly the best way to look at it, but I call it my business plan. And my business plan to me is more or less a list of things that I want to accomplish that year. And I find they change a lot. And I actually wrote an article a couple years ago that's going into a book that I'm working on about the fact that out of, let's say, 30 that year, I only accomplished 7. But because of those 7 that I did, it then opened other doors that I had to go, these aren't important because these are now making money. And how much of that change constantly needs to go, where like we talk about the older DJs that you've run across and try to give ideas to, and they simply go, well, I've been doing it this way for 30 years and I'm making a living, so why would I want to change? Why are you telling me I need to change? And that's when I kick them usually. No, I'm sorry.
But it's like a workout, right? So maybe you had a specific goal in mind or a specific weight, and then you realize, hey, I'm not targeting the right muscles with this exercise, so I have to switch up the exercise. Or now I'm noticing that these certain foods I eat are more beneficial than these other foods that I thought would be. So yeah, you switch up your workout. Of course, you're going to switch up your plan as you go along. I thought it was going to be a drum and bass DJ forever, and now I play house and techno. Go figure.
And that answered one of the questions that was in the chat room. People were wondering what you were into playing these days.
I just want to say that my subgenre of EDM is German death metal reggae gabber. So I just want to
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I know.
And John and I are going, wait a minute, is he being serious?
What's gabber?
I was wondering, I played a polka Saturday.
Oh,
I did a live remix 2 Saturdays ago. I'm
Okay.
not kidding you. Of Celine Dion's, not the one from the movie. I can't even think. It was another slow song. Somebody wanted it, and I'm like, I'm not going to play it. It's a slow song. So I ended up taking hip hop song "Blessings on Blessings on Blessings" and did a mix of the 2 of those live, just to get the people to shut up at the bar. And they're like, "Yeah!" That's about all it goes to. Sorry, I had these stories that come out sometimes. Squirrel.
John, and he makes fun of us for playing country.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that was cool though. That was what she was saying about being creative and unique. And I just threw myself out there in the mix at that point, that it was like, okay, I can do this. I know I can do this. Let's do this. And it became, a thing at that point to where, like you said, it's not getting stuck in a rut where the same thing. I'm like, bring it. I did another one this Saturday that the guy was with me. There's like, there's no way you're going to do this, where I went from Turn Down for What into 22, Taylor Swift. And the girls, it was a 15-year-old girls party, and they went bananas. So it's about being creative through that, not in your business, but every little thing, you're constantly changing it. So, and somebody said something about Bad Boy Bill in there. Saw him perform a couple years ago. The most boring DJ I've ever seen, but man, was his mixing so dead on.
And that happens in my industry too. Just no energy. Yeah. People are just, I must have a perfect mix. And the crowd's like, okay, I'm going home. And then some of our other artists, if you ever see videos of me online DJing, you'll know I just like dance the whole time. I can't help it. And people feed off of that. They're like, oh, she's having a good time. Well, she's having a good time.
Dan, do you dance around when you DJ?
Absolutely. You have to. You have to. If nothing else, it helps pass the time because you're having a good time yourself. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there are songs where I go, "Oh my gosh, I'm not dancing to that." But if I'm feeling it, or if I'm in a mix, absolutely.
Even the old white guy from Minnesota, really gets into that wall step once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
You do the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, that's just getting a little too crazy.
Carlton, there we go.
Carlton,
yeah. That you could throw an elbow out or something.
Throw them bows, dipping.
Being a dad.
I love losing people with these little offshoots of that.
No.
Question here, Kilma. They're talking about following you on Periscope and stuff like that. How important is some of that stuff in your world that you push, both in your world as an artist and a DJ and a person who teaches other people about marketing?
So, how did you find out about my article?
I think I stole it from a 12th grader, I think, because I usually they pick on smaller DJs. And no, I'm a nerd when it comes to this news stuff. I am the exception, where I just literally have boatloads of sites that I like on Facebook, and I'll scroll and find stories and constantly. And I think I came across it, and like I said, because of the way you write the articles and break them down simply instead of just being there's one, it's called Your EDM. It's a site, and they do a lot of they try to sensationalize their headlines instead of, something to help you. They're like, so-and-so released the track that is going to destroy the industry. And it's actually just someone just wrote a new track. So that's why I think we're yours. And I think that's what it was when I'm scrolling through some news things, that's why it jumped out at me. So
the reason that I asked where you found it, like it was on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So somebody shared it, or I probably shared it maybe in a DJ group that you're a part of.
I don't know if it's that, or if it could have been shared by another DJ news group that I then shared it, I don't know how it went. And I think that one might have been shared by one of our competitors, and I grabbed it and pulled it and then went to your site and went and recircled it originally or something, because I tend to do that a lot.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning me. And again, thanks for having me, guys. So social media is important for many reasons. Some people don't have Facebook. They only have Twitter. Some people don't have any social media. They're just searching for things on Google. So I think it's important to have your content available on a lot of different mediums. So for example, on Instagram, I make like these little videos or the artwork to talk about the new article that just came out. And if you click on the link in the bio, they can go there and check it. So I have people from Instagram or wherever else checking out what's going on. And then once they're there, there's resources to other websites and web pages and other DJ blogs that I've written for. So the importance of putting yourself out there, not just on the social networks, but actually having those conversations, whether it's in the chat room here or in the YouTube comments of a video that's talking about something that's relevant to what you do. It's so incredibly important because people are not everywhere, but you can be. And that's really going to put the edge on your brand. People from, I had this friend that was touring, and he was out in Germany, and they were listening to this drum and bass set, and they're like, oh, this is good. And who is this? Oh, DJ Swat from Canada, you know her. And this guy is like, this is hilarious. Like, how did they even get your mixtape? Well, you're posting it online, and you're going in different forums, and you're finding, where's my demographic? Where are the people that are listening to the music or talking about the content that I'm posting? So yeah, it's important.
The other night we were making comments about DJs playing music from phones. There was the real long
Oh God.
and I shared the thing about Chris Craze, what he said. He went off one night. I found, this is again, like you said, about just being the social media guy. Someone gave me a mixtape of him in the early 2000s from a club that he DJ'd at down in the South. And I then, years later, as social music media comes up, I went back and said, I love that mix CD that he put out, 15 years ago. Looked him up online and now follow him from something that happened 15 years ago. So every little thing, it matters, I think. Like you said about being on all of them, how much money would someone else spend on a marketing thing as opposed to how much time are you going to put into marketing I don't know. Am I making any sense at this point?
Sometimes you do.
Because I'm all hopped up on Skittles. I just want to say
I think Kilma, her camera froze.
Uh-oh.
It froze on us.
Uh-oh.
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
Back.
She's back.
She's
now.
back. Well, guys.
It's because I tried to click on the YouTube link to go to the
Oh,
chat
to go to the other one, yeah.
We'll keep you up on the chat room.
Yeah.
So I'm just insulting people.
Actually, guys, we were at 9 o'clock, and we were going to keep it to about a half an hour. We don't want to take up too much time. We can.
No, I want to keep throwing emoticons into the chat room.
Yeah, see, that's what happens, and you start emoticoning, and then we have problems. People cry, and then moms are called. Just gets crazy.
Who's going to ask the last question or who make the last statement? Kilma, you're definitely going to be able to say the last thing you want about whatever you want. Was there any statement you'd like to make?
Yeah, why don't you give us a closing words to live by? We need that sound effect.
How does that make you feel?
Well, to any DJ, whether they're just starting out or have been established, if you're finding yourself stuck, it's time to maybe take a step back, reevaluate, and replan your goals. Often we are the people that are keeping ourselves stuck, and it can be a hard reality. But if we take a step back and we really look at what we're doing and look at the bigger picture, we can get ourselves back on track. And you can. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I run this blog on my YouTube channel, and it's #AskKilma. So you can ask me your vibe-killing questions. Maybe you've had a situation and you're not too happy about it and you need some vibe-killing answers.
Can I ask business questions, branding questions, or you just... Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We definitely want to have you on our after-hour show, and I already know the question that I want to ask about your thing. I want to ask you then, so you have plenty of time to think about it. What is the strangest question anybody's ever asked you? Don't answer it now, but think about that for a future show. Strangest question.
I think it was that one right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it
that was number one? That's up with number two.
Why is it every time I open my mouth?
So
maybe because
Kilma, we put the link to your blog in the description, so you guys can go and click on that and check that out. They can find you if they go to your Facebook. Was your Facebook?
If they go to don'tkillmavibe.com, all of the social networking links are there, so it's really easy. They can just click on any of them.
Yeah. Well, that is great. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And again, for those of you out there watching, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or anything, links down below. Pop out to Facebook, find Kilma. She'll answer questions and help you out. Or you can ask MJ and be confused, just like the rest of us.
But I can ramble like a champ, can't I?
Yeah.
I could filibuster as a politician.
I don't think filibuster's not part of DJ. No. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News, Disc Jockey News TV. Good night, everyone.